Breaking news first right now here on the WHAS 11 night team. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Prophet. We begin in Oldham County, where several fire departments have been on the scene for just a little while at a big apartment complex on Landmark Court. Now, that's in Shepherdsville of Bullitt County. WHAS 11 night team's Clarice Shaley and our assignment editor of the night, Kaylin Olson, are live on the scene right now. And Kaylin, I know you just got a briefing from the fire chief. Can you show us that apartment complex and then let us hear what he had to say?
Yeah, hey Doug. So yes, we did just speak to the Shepherdsville fire chief here, and I do want to show you what that scene looks like right now here. It is still smoking a little bit, but that fire has gone down at this time. Right now, you can see crews are throwing debris out of the window right now. And if you see in that middle part there, that's the hot spot they believe is the area where the fire began. They believe it began in the stairway area right on the first floor, but they're still, of course, going through that investigation, trying to find out exactly what happened here at these apartment complexes. So we do know that 25 people do live in this building, and we did hear from the fire chief about the state of those people at this time.
Everyone's accounted for. All residents are accounted for. We transported 5 people who went to the U of L hospital with smoke inhalation. I think one of them had an ankle injury.
And again, you are looking at the scene here of that apartment apartment fire where firefighters are still throwing out debris. One is actually about to throw out a charred mattress here out the top window. And again, tons and tons of fire response here lining the road right here outside of the apartment complex. And as of course they are continuing to look through the building here, determining what the cause of that fire here is. And live in Shepherdsville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 night team on your side. Doug?
All right, Clarice, thank you very much. A lot of damage there, but thankfully tonight, as we just heard, no fatalities, no serious injuries. Everybody got out of that apartment complex. That's in Shepherdsville on Landmark Court. Now we want to move to the vigil that happened tonight in Carolton, Kentucky, where police say several people died in an early morning house fire right in downtown Carolton. A 3-year-old little girl was rescued. The Carroll County Memorial Hospital posted on Facebook that they are mourning the loss of 2 beloved members of their team who passed away this morning. WHAS 11 night team's Alexandra Goldberg and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie were in Carrollton tonight as the small Ohio River town held a vigil outside that hospital honoring the victims.
Emotion still raw. In Carrollton, a small Kentucky town of about 4,000, hundreds of neighbors are grieving at this vigil outside the hospital.
In a little town, just about everybody knows everybody.
Authorities say they believe this house fire killed multiple family members. But as of Thursday night, no deaths have been confirmed by police.
I said, it has to be something bad to be that close.
Thursday evening, the Carroll County Memorial Hospital held a vigil to grieve the lives lost. Campbellsville residents Iva and Roger Onan say in times of tragedy, they expect the community to lean on one another.
It brings out the best in people, and that's what you want to see.
Smoke still smoldering late into the day.
Be advised, it is fully engulfed. We do have a female still in the house.
One neighbor captured the 2-story home engulfed in flames around 6 a.m.
All units be advised to have Unit 1 pulling a child out of the back door. He needs assistance and equipment.
A 3-year-old girl was rescued by a police officer near the back door of the home. She was airlifted to Louisville for treatment, but the status of her condition is still unknown. And back in Carrollton, it's a town, but really, it's a large family.
This is such a small community. Well, it's a little bit larger than where we live, but I'm sure many people know all of the people that live around local, and I'm sure, their heart goes out to the families.
Candles, tears, and people leaning on one another. In Carrollton, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 night team, on your side.
And again, even at this late hour tonight, we still don't know the extent of this tragedy, and we could learn more about that tomorrow. That's because, again, we checked with the Carrollton, Kentucky Police Department just about an hour ago, and they told us more details about the number of victims may be coming tomorrow. Now, also in Louisville tonight, the Carroll County School Superintendent was appearing at a meeting, and he did tell us that the school had grief counselors on site for students who knew the family in that home. While details still remain limited, Casey Jane says one of the first calls he made was to Jason Atkins, who oversees the Ohio Valley Education Cooperative. They sent a crisis response team to help students and teachers in Carrollton throughout the day. We asked Janes about the fire.
There is a tragedy in a community. They will come in and work with teachers or kids. They'll push in and support. I think some of the plan was when the teachers come back tomorrow was to have that extra person in the room to help answer questions or to provide counseling, or to even, if a child is really struggling, to take that child, into a quiet place so that they can work with the student.
That team was there today, and they will be back again tomorrow. Back here in Louisville, a JCPS student was injured after an accidental shooting happened outside the school at Atherton High School this morning. It happened in the student parking lot of Atherton High at about 9 a.m. The school's principal sent a letter to parents saying it appears that a student shot themselves in the leg while sitting inside their car. To be clear, the principal said that gun never made it inside Atherton. Police believe that the injuries are not life-threatening. More violence on Kentuckiana roads today. Police in Clarksville are investigating a road rage shooting that left one person dead earlier this evening. According to police, two vehicles were traveling on I-65 when they stopped near the Stansford Avenue exit. That's just a few miles north of downtown Louisville. One person from each car got out and approached each other, and shots were fired, leaving one man dead. Police say they're still actively investigating, but they say there is no danger to the public. A jury is going to be seated tomorrow morning in the federal retrial of former Metro Police Detective Brett Hankerson. Hankerson accused of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights when he fired blindly into her apartment and her neighbor's apartment during that botched raid in March of 2020. According to court documents, there are now just 36 candidates left in the jury pool that once stood at 150 on Tuesday. This is the third trial for Brett Hankerson. He's never been convicted. Family and friends of Breonna Taylor are looking for a different outcome.
We want the state of Kentucky, the jurors, to listen to the evidence, listen to the facts, and just do the right thing.
But prominent former U.S. prosecutors and attorneys who are not involved in this case have previously told us that the prosecutors today face an uphill battle to convince a jury to convince Hankerson a third time around. Even if the jury is put together tomorrow, we have learned the trial will be starting on Monday. New on the WHAS11 night team, school superintendents from across Kentucky met in Middletown tonight to voice their opposition to Amendment 2, which is on your ballot in November in Kentucky. It would fund private schools with public money for the first time. JCPS is also against the measure, but other school leaders in Louisville do support it. WHAS11 night team's Clarice Shaley has both sides tonight.
We deal in this work every single day.
School superintendents from Bullitt, Carroll, Henry, and Trimble counties discuss Amendment 2. They are all against the November referendum.
We know the issues and challenges that we face when it comes to budgeting and preparing.
With a lot of the conversation centering around money and how it would benefit their students.
In rural schools such as mine, we don't have an option for a private school. And our students would have nowhere to go.
Some taking models from other states, resulting in cuts of millions of dollars and jobs.
Every year, public schools and educators already are asked to stretch resources further. If this amendment passes, vouchers will only deepen that strain.
With no current state plans to increase funding for education.
If they take $500 million and take that to fund charters or vouchers or private schools or whatever, well, none of the kids in Carroll County are going to go travel 40 minutes to come to a private school.
At Coleman Preparatory School in Louisville, Asa Coleman supports Amendment 2, and she says she has to turn interested parents away because they can't afford it.
Although our tuition is significantly lower than any other private school in the city, it is still unattainable for some of our families.
Superintendents argue the ads aren't true. Amendment 2 will not raise teacher pay or help low-income students.
And the reality is that is not true, because there is no voucher program in our state right now that could bridge the divide of what the real cost is for private school education in our communities right now, to be able to make that gap work.
Public school isn't going anywhere. People might still pick public school. But if we really care about students excelling, we have to be open to the idea that there are other ways to get there.
But some mentioned for rural counties, the largest employer is their school system.
Any action that reduces the budget, that eliminates jobs for one of those districts, doesn't just hurt education, it hurts the whole community. Yeah, it hurts the employment rate, and it hurts the quality of life in those communities.
In Middletown, Clarice Shaley, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
And there are now just 19 days until Election Day, and on the national stage, presidential candidates are hitting the campaign trail hard. Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, campaigning in Durham, North Carolina, with former President Bill Clinton today. Meantime, Donald Trump appearing on another podcast, repeating a promise that he'll end the war in Ukraine before he takes the oath.
We'll settle Russia, Ukraine while I'm president-elect.
While you're president-elect?
While I'm president-elect.
Wow.
And I'm just glad that President Clinton and all of you are out here to make the case why we need to elect Kamala Harris the next president of the United States.
Early voting already underway in Indiana. Here in Kentucky, early, no excuse, in-person voting begins on October 31st and will run through November 2nd. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. And a new book is detailing Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell's thoughts on former President Donald Trump after the 2020 election, and it is the outgoing Republican leader's strongest condemnation of the former president yet. Mitch McConnell called then-President Donald Trump stupid as well as being ill-tempered, a despicable human being, and a narcissist. McConnell made the remarks in private as part of a series of personal oral histories that he did make available to the author of a new book, AP's Michael Tackett. Now, despite these strong comments, McConnell has endorsed Donald Trump, as you know, for 2024. In a statement to the Associated Press, Mitch McConnell saying in part about his endorsement of Trump, "Whatever I may have said about President Trump pales in comparison to what J.D. Vance, Lindsey Graham, and others have said about him, but we are all on the same team now."